The climate retards are back, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, you thought that they had gone away, but no, these people are never going to go away. Much to the annoyance of everyone who has to put up with their bullshit. Yes, they are trying to shut down London yet again. Now, this was from a few days ago, the 30th of September. So about a week ago. There was a massive protest. I mean, allegedly, I didn't really see it. Maybe I didn't leave the house on that day. Maybe my status as a basement dweller is actually working in my favor for once. But oh no, these people are back. And not only do we have the retards from Just Stop Oil and Insulate Britain, who are basically the same people, they have now teamed up with Jeremy Corbyn, of all people, because what's the use of participating in a revolutionary ideology if you don't have some political leaders on board to force your agenda? Am I right? The revolution ain't gonna revolutionize itself, ladies and gentlemen. I just wanted to point out here the kind of insane hypocrisy about this Daily Mail article. So this is before the protest kicked off, right? And Daily Mail is basically advertising the entire thing. They've got the little pictures there. Oh, all they want is Just Stop Oil. I presume saying all we want is for people to fucking starve and freeze to death, it wouldn't have quite the same frisson. Probably not good from a public relations standpoint. So instead they're like, Just Stop Oil. I got a question. Oh, I got so many questions. But here is a great question. So they want to transition to renewables and stuff like that, all that, right? Mm-hmm. How do you make fertilizer out of electricity? Anyone want to tell how we make fertilizer without using natural gas or, mining stuff in Belarus, and shipping it over with ships that primarily work on what's that thing that ships use? Is it oil? Maybe they could go back to using sails. Hey, if it's good enough for the 18th century, it's good enough for us. Am I right? Who do we think we are, having all these modern pretensions?
Actually, there's a proposal for a ship with sails.
My producer has just informed me that apparently there is a proposal for ships with... Are they calling it like something really cool? Like, actually, what would you call a sail in modern climate parlance, do you think? Renewable, plane-based, wind energy sea transport. It's a fucking sail, bro. Thanks. That's one fact I really didn't need to know today. So the Daily Mail just advertises their shit entirely, right? They're like, here's where to go if you want to be part of the thing. They give details of all the tube stations you can go to if you want to join the protest. They interviewed Roger Hallam, who is the psycho behind Insulate Britain and Just Stop Oil and Extinction Rebellion, and he's basically like the Green Lenin, I guess, at this point. I imagine that he probably would have been arrested, except if he's smart, he won't do anything himself. He'll just whisper into the ears of his increasingly young followers, because, as any good revolutionary knows, the way to get them is to get them young, because the young are less likely to ask difficult questions. Yep, so here we go. Here's a map of all the places that you can go. There's definitely going to be more of these. XR and Just Stop Oil and, all these kinds of groups have decided that they're going to have an autumn of action. I don't know why they didn't have a summer of action, to be perfectly honest. Maybe, maybe there were too many people in jail. People are actually getting jailed over this kind of stuff, much to the delight of the English populace generally, but I don't think they're giving them long enough jail sentences because they seem to be back out every goddamn day. Now, of course, they have pivoted to the cost of living crisis. Millions of hard-working people and families across our country are being forced into poverty and utter desperation due to the cost of living crisis. Yes, the cost of living crisis that you people had a large part in engineering by fucking banning fossil fuels or attempting to ban fossil fuels encouraging renewable energy and all of this crap. And then, of course, these sanctions on Russia. I'd really, really like to actually ask some of these people, their position on things like fertilizers, people eating food. I mean, you do need fertilizers to grow vegetables as well, right? Like, I mean, this is the weird dichotomy that we are in, right? Technically, you only need grass to grow a cow, right? I mean, I know that, a lot of, factory farming and sort of modern industrial kinds of, cattle raising, they feed them soy and stuff like that. But you could technically just raise cows on grass. I don't think you are going to do that well with, I don't know, I mean, what do vegetarians eat? Like pumpkin spice lattes or soy or quinoa. That you can raise like any of that stuff without fertilizer. I don't know. I mean, I would be interested to see them try. Can we perhaps have like a GoFundMe, right, where we can buy a piece of land on a very, very remote island somewhere and put like, I don't know, a couple of thousand climate protesters on there and, give them all the solar panels that they want and stuff like that, all the little windmills and stuff, and tell them to grow their own food and see how it goes. My prediction is that they would all develop a taste for human flesh very quickly. Oh, come on, that would make a great film. The climate cannibal apocalypse. 200 teenagers trapped on an island by a climate guru. You won't believe what happens next. No, you won't. Toothsome. So, just banging on. We are currently witnessing the breakdown of all we hold dear. Our government has not got this. Oh, yeah. And of course, the solution is to make things work because that's communism, basically. You just start breaking stuff left and right. And then when stuff like stops working, you basically blame anyone else and say what we need to do is break more stuff, right? Because, I mean, that's going to have to go. So in response, of course, to the crisis in Ukraine, the government has basically said that they're going to start ramping up gas projects and oil projects in the North Sea. Good. I am not personally a fan of freezing to death in the winter, nor starving to death, because given that I live in London, a huge goddamn city, every single thing that I eat has to be brought somewhere. And the bringing of that stuff and the plastic used to encase it and the manufacturing that it uses all needs oil and gas. And you can't just replace all that stuff with electricity. I don't know. There's probably some climate activist out there being like, actually, you could replace all that stuff with electrical vehicles. Shut up. Don't care. Fuck off. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of it. Just go to your island, piss off, leave the rest of us to get on with our lives. Jeremy Corbyn's waffling on. Record-breaking weather is happening everywhere and everything is too expensive. How are these two things linked? Oh yeah, because the myth of climate change that you guys were like basically peddling led to policies which has made everything more expensive. That's the crisis. You can't separate out the cost of living and climate crises. I'm pretty sure you can. The whole system, which creates billionaires and starves hundreds of millions, is the crisis. It can't be resolved. It must be overcome and transformed. Viva la revolution, comrade! Oh my god. Yep, we need to have a revolution. We just, look, stuff's not like going great. But look, if we set everything on fire, break every single governmental institution, and put a bunch of insane climate retards in charge, things are sure to get better. Am I right? How can it not? Everyone knows that if you have a system in which the people who are governing it have the right morals and beliefs, everything automatically goes fine. And the Soviet Union, of course, is an excellent example of that. As is Cambodia under Pol Pot. Hey. I know what you're thinking, right? But the millions of people who died, right? They were probably the wrong kind of people, right? I mean, and everybody's like, very, very worried about overpopulation, right? We could shed probably half of that population. And the best way to do that is with a good communist revolution, as every good comrade knows. So yes, they're banging on. In order to stop new oil and gas, we need to insulate Britain now. Right. How is insulation going to make fertilizer? You're gonna get like house insulation and like spread it on the crops and be like, grow plants, grow. You're gonna use crystals. You're gonna use like green soy farts. You're gonna use like prayers to your green god. Oh wait, they're all freaking atheists. What do the greens pray to? Nature, of course. They would pray to nature. So they'd probably get down on them, and they'd probably like, let's face it, they'd probably pay some poor immigrant to do the actual plowing and planting of the seeds because they're all suffering from, soy withering disease. But once it's in, you know what I mean, right? They'd probably get down on their knees and be like, oh, nature, please make the crops grow. And then when the crops don't grow, this is why I want to see all these people on an island somewhere. I want to see them face the consequences of their actions. We're all having to live with the consequences of their actions. Why can't they? You know what I mean? And I mean, they probably feel the same way about people like myself. So look, I tell you what, I'll make them a deal. Why don't we separate the planet into two countries or something like that? You can go over to your country and use your sustainable farming and praying to nature and, renewable energy and all of that stuff. And I'll go off to, I don't know, Texas, right? And live with the meat-eating, oil-burning, gun-toting rednecks and give it like 50 years and we'll see who is prospering. I know who my money is on. So, there is a new variation of Just Stop Oil or Insulate Britain or XR or, they change like a chameleon changing themselves. And they have decided, the girl involved, apparently the boyfriend is in jail after setting himself on fire at a tennis match or something. Very, very, very strange people. I mean, they're obviously cracked. I think we are seriously enabling mental illness by basically saying, well, if people are like cracked in the head because of, climate change, everyone's like, well, it is an existential issue. Wouldn't you be a bit worried? Yes, a bit worried. Like, sure, but it's not. Oh my God. Look, if the temperature rises by that much, right, we can just change the thermostat. Right? If the sea rises a little, we can just build seawalls, right? And before you go off on your whole thing, what about people in other countries? What about people in other countries, right? Like, I don't live in the world, right? I live in a certain place in the world. I speak a certain language. Those are the people I care about. Oh, I know, I hear them crying. Racist. How can you not care about the entire world at once? Because it's bloody impossible. That's why. Trying to care about the entire world at once makes you insane. So, end UK private jets. Apparently their new thing is they want to end private jets in the UK. I mean, okay. I mean, I would be in favor of ending private jets for rich people and celebrities that spout climate nonsense. Definitely, right? I would, if I was dictator, I would pass a law saying you can have your climate jet, you have your private jets, or you can go to COP26 and lecture everyone else, go to the World Economic Forum and tell everyone else to eat the bugs, right? But you can't have both. If you're going to have your private jet, stay away from telling everybody else to stop it. Now, I mean, this is the thing. I'm not even sure how much fuel private jets actually burn. Probably not that much. This is pretty much a very, very communist kind of Kulak sort of thing, right? We have to oppose the thing because people wealthier than us do it. Well, maybe some of those people earned that money. Maybe it's their choice to spend it on a private jet. Don't tell me you wouldn't want a private jet. Fuck, I know I'd want a private jet. Holy shit, I would be private jetting that shit everywhere. I'd be back and forward. Wouldn't have to go through immigration or deal with Heathrow. I would be all over that stuff. And presumably this kind of attitude is exactly why I'm going to be in the climate gulag. So many gulags, right? I'm booked into. In the next 5 or 10 years, my social calendar is going to be so busy. I've got the climate gulag, I've got the being white gulag. Mate, wrong think gulag, all the gulags. It's going to be a super gulag, the gulag superstore. Man, I'm going to be all up in that bitch. So they decided, or the crazy woman decided, to basically pour crap all over a statue. It's not really a statue, it's more of a memorial of Sir Tom Moore. Now, for those of you who don't know, Sir Tom Moore, Captain Sir Tom Moore, is a World War II veteran who raised millions for the NHS. I don't understand why they're picking on this guy, right? I mean, okay, there are issues with the NHS, but I mean, he seems like a, generally, he was like an old doddering guy. I think he's dead now. He walked up and down his backyard to raise money for the NHS. It was like a wholesome story that everyone was like clinging on to during the depths of the horror of lockdown. And so, this crazy person who can't spell feces, by the way, and UK private jets supporter pours human facias. Learn to spell! Go back to school! You're like bloody Greta Thunberg. Can't even spell feces properly on Captain Tom's memorial. Quote, "Every time a private jet takes off, it pours a bucket of shit and blood on everything Captain Tom stood for." I was not aware there was any blood. Possibly due to soy wasting disease. They are scared of blood. Look, she should have just gone the full hog, hacked off a finger or something and just, squished it in there. And I'll play you a few, choice bits of this. Just, walks up. She's, chucking the thing on it. It's a bit heavy, just chucking it on there. God, imagine the smell, ladies and gentlemen. She does not look happy about the smell there. And no wonder, ladies and gentlemen. Can you imagine the smell? All of that. I mean, I presume that's vegan poop. It does say it's human poop, so presumably it was collected from vegans, right? So, But again, the question is, why Tom Moore? Were they just driving around, or they probably don't drive, bicycling around, skateboarding around, just looking for like something they could do they would know that would, annoy the hell out of people so they could get publicity? That's probably it, actually, because, of course, they have gotten publicity. I'm talking about it. Other people are talking about it. So now they have launched their new pustule on the butt of the environmental movement. That is Just Stop and UK private jets. I get them all confused. They should basically just form like an Uber group called Just Stop Everything. I think that would be like, or they could just call it Just Stop, and then stop. They can just stop whatever you're doing. Just stop. Catchy, and also massively authoritarian. And the Greens love that stuff. There's also a long Twitter thread on these people that I was going to go into, but actually we're nearly up to 20 minutes. So, if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. We're on YouTube now. I feel dirty and slightly molested, but I've got to get more of those sweet, sweet views. You got to understand, as a content creator, I don't really live unless people are watching my stuff. It's how I attain validation. If you are watching this on YouTube at Malinformed, kudos. Please leave a comment. If you're on any of the other platforms, also please leave a comment. Share this video. Come on, I know you're out there. And make sure to subscribe because I could really use the numbers. Anyway, I'll see you all later. Good night.